not doing cultures for beta strep, and they treat by the risk factors, which some people still think is reasonable.
Yeah.
But you end up treating 200 women for the sake of one baby. Well, the truth is, if you're the one baby, that is below the standard of care, right? Even though midwives, or they'll do things, maybe some more probiotics and redo the culture and then not treat in labor. But if something goes wrong, they're going to find out about it. The big thing now is going post-AIDS. And statistically, so when people go between 41 and 42 weeks, the worry is stillbirth. We don't like to talk about that. And it's really rare.
That they go stillborn, huh?
For stillbirth to occur after 40
Yeah, I was 42. Well, my son was 42 weeks and a half, and
Right,
everyone was so relaxed about it. So I wasn't scared.
The risk is only about 1 in 400.
Yeah.
But that's become the standard, and it's really hard now to let people go to 42 weeks or beyond. And it's interesting now, just as a similar thing, I had this lady a week or so ago that ruptured her membranes with her 4th baby, and well, she didn't go into labor for like 80 hours.
Okay.
So the standard is not to really let people around here go 80 hours. But it's interesting because we have like a kind of a book that's put out every year called the Compendium, and it's a kind of how you deal with all these different issues. And if there's nothing new that's come up, they just send out the same thing as the year before. So in 2007, now what happens if the water breaks and somebody is going to be a hospital birth? They're sent to the hospital almost immediately, and they're induced. The current thought is you're supposed to start induction almost immediately, not to give any time for nature
To do
take
its
over.
work.
But interesting enough, I happened to look back in my 2007 version of that, and in 2007, they said that if you don't examine people, you can let them not be induced for up to 72 hours. And if you did that today, you would be considered guilty
Malpractice.
of malpractice.
Yeah.
But we do have to get rid of, the OBs pay the highest medical malpractice premiums of any specialty. And there's lots of people paying well over $100,000 a year insurance. Because if anything does go wrong, the tendency is for people to blame. They can look up what the standard has become. And the standard has become basically making medicine or obstetrics into a disease.
Yeah.
And I think that's the real problem. And I actually try not to look at it that way. But you do have to have a lot of guts now to let people go even beyond 41 weeks.
Yeah, you do.
And then that translates to the patients, I think. I think that the birthing patients feel the fear. They're being, every appointment after 38 weeks is really stressful. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop for someone to tell you need to go to the hospital, go home, go right there. You can't even go home.
Yeah.
Most of the time, everything goes great, no matter how far you go.
Right.
And then we look at that 1 in 400 risk that you're saying, and obviously that's awful, but then what about all the other risks of kind of inducing early and C-section and all those? We forget about that because you're never going to get sued. You're never going to get sued for that. You're never going to get sued if you do a C-section at 41 weeks because you were worried about the person going post-States, but you'll definitely get sued if there's a complication at 42 weeks. And so that's what's so tough about, from the physician's perspective. And I don't practice that way at all, but I also am not an obstetrician where there's a little bit more risk, but you end up being pressured in a way where, you're just so worried. It's just fear.
Now that's the whole comparison came to, doctors don't get sued in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to. It's so difficult to sue a doctor. And here it's normal. Let's sue the doctor.
Yeah, let's sue the doctor.
Let's sue the doctor.
Yeah.
So I know we can talk about it forever.
Moving on to placenta ceremony and reading, I'd like to welcome Megan and Alex. Where did you go? Just okay, to the circle. Two glorious midwives that a lot of you know. They have a beautiful, nourished postpartum training, and for really everyone, but for doulas, for keepers, families who want to learn how to take care of other families in the community, and I believe they've come to see Miriam and bring a placenta for a reading. And I was saying, instead of tarot card readings, we're just going to have placenta readings with the chickens in the backyard. There's a lot you can learn from a placenta. And then this is Jennifer. And Tom is.
He's getting the babies.
Harrison.
The solo won't fit.
So we.
Go through that side. Oh,
Jay
to double?
was taking a little video because we had the placenta. It wasn't
potentially
even
would go through
planned.
that
It's in a moon juice
through the
cooler. He's like, oh, that's our friend. We have to take a video for her to.
Oh.
Anyway, we have your placenta in a moon
What's your
juice.
new arm?
Yours.
Ooh.
A caterpillar.
Oh, that's such good luck.
It is.
I'm like, good to see you too, but what's on your arm? Hi.
Carmen, could we do a little break before we continue?
Yes, there is food, tea. We were probably going to go ahead and move into that because then Miriam has a Reboso workshop.